Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another Crazy Cast. I am Crazy Bob, along with Brother Vince.
Hey, everybody.
By the way, I got to tell you, before we get started, it occurred to me late in the afternoon that because I haven't been sleeping a lot lately. I don't know what my body's doing, but I'm dreaming a lot. And I had a strange dream last night, and it was about, remember our cousins, Joe and Jesse Cisneros?
Yes.
It was about them, you and Joe and me and them just hanging out.
Wow.
Just out of the blue. And I'm like, and it just because you dream a lot and you forget about it immediately. And then like late in the afternoon.
Aren't they both passed away?
No, dude. One is living in Chicago.
Did Jesse pass away? Crazy Jesse Cisneros? Didn't some of them, he didn't?
No, Jesse's the one that was my age and Joe was just younger than Joe. Joe was younger than our brother Joe.
Right.
Yeah, no, they're still.
But Jesse was a little crazy. Wasn't he wild? Like when he was young?
That's Jesse Cruz.
Oh, okay.
He's alive too, but I think he's still crazy.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. All right.
So many Jesse, so many Joes.
right, exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
What was that?
I only remember the crazy ones, right?
Not Casino, but what was the other one?
Not Goodfellas.
Yeah, Goodfellas. Yeah. Everybody was named Peter or Paul.
Right.
Here's my friend Paul. Here's Mikey. Here's Peter. Here's Mikey. Right. Here's Paul. So anyway, it was just out of the blue, and again, I remembered it this afternoon, and so I posted on social media. I was like, man, I had a dream about you guys. I was like, I know it's crazy and out of the blue, but we should probably make that happen sometime in the next year or so. Right. I haven't seen them in forever, man. When we used to go up to the farm.
Right. Oh, yeah. We went up there. When was the last time we went up there?
The last time we went up there.
We played a little bit of basketball, remember?
Yeah, the last time we went up there is we were older. We were already adults.
Yeah.
One of our aunts lost most of her stuff in a tornado. So we went up there to kind of cheer her up, remember? Aunt Janie?
Is that why we were there?
I think so, yeah.
Mom, we never paid attention.
At least that's what Ma said. But I know we had everybody laughing. So.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We did play basketball. We did, and
those are great. Those are always great people.
And we drove Joe's car up there because Joe had just gotten off work and he was trying to sleep. And he kept complaining, man, this is too long. Let's just turn around. Right. The whole time. But then when we got up there, of course, they were grilling and there was food and it was Mexican food. And
they're nice. They're like really, really nice people.
Oh, these are the nicest people in the world. Yeah, and they lived up just past Green Bay. It was Berlin, Wisconsin.
Yeah, they live way up there.
Yeah. So,
but I think definitely super nice people.
I believe Joe lives in Chicago, and Jesse, I think he lives even closer. I think. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure they're both in the Midwest, though.
Yeah, because you guys were all older.
He might be in Milwaukee, but not as far as Green Bay.
Because the last time we seen him, that was the only time I was really as big as you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was always smaller, and you guys were around the same age.
Yeah, I remember the last time we went up there. Before that, we were kids, and I couldn't reach the top of the dresser.
That's had that barn, right?
They had the barn
and jump in the hay.
Jump into the hay. That was the craziest stuff ever. Now, if I saw it now, I wonder what it would be like. But back then, it was like jumping 20 feet.
Right?
It was 20 feet down into a bale of hay, a big thing of straw. It was awesome. That was awesome. Right. They used to show horses, I believe. So, man, I used to love going up there. We go up for a weekend or a couple days or something like that.
Yeah, amazing.
So anyway, I just wanted to get that out.
That's crazy.
It just out of the blue, I had a dream about us five getting together.
For sure. For sure.
We'll have to do that sometime. Anyway, a couple things going on. We got sports. We've got the UFC. We've got Daniel Cormier and what's his name again?
Stipe Miocic. Going to be an amazing battle. Yeah. Amazing fight coming.
And we've got there's a lot. I think most of the sports are on now. We're just waiting to see what happens with football. But you got the basketball bubble.
NBA playoffs going to be fun this year because the pandemic has changed some things. Some teams that were hot aren't hot anymore. Some teams that had some people that were injured got back, and now they're going to make a run.
Pelicans just get bounced?
basically, yeah, they were hot too before, and then the pandemic didn't serve them well. But on the reverse, Portland got some guys back from injury and got hot, and so they might make some noise as an 8th seed because the number 1 seed, the Lakers, isn't playing that well. So, if you like basketball, it's just more interesting. Houston's not really playing like there's some room now because of the pandemic and some people keeping out and teams not being as deep and all that. And I think some teams are more focused than others, probably. Well,
I think the Lakers, they'll always take LeBron's lead. And I think right now, because he's scoring, like 12 points a game right now? 10 points, 12 points?
I don't know. But they have Anthony Davis, who is
definitely. The other thing is he's also saving himself for the playoffs because he's not a spring chicken anymore.
No, he's past the age of injury, right? So because athletes, once you hit 34, it's hard to maintain a season without getting injured. Unless you're on something, unless you're on like crazy EPO and all this other shit that they take, that Lance Armstrong and all those people were taking. But overall, a regular person, generally speaking, it's not that you're not as good as you were. It's just that you can't sustain high level of performance over a long period of time.
That's just your body, man. That's just
right. It's just getting old. And he's at that point now. And he's like pulled his hammy a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that was my prediction for the playoffs or Bishop. I'm like, I bet you that something happens, and then the pandemic came, so he didn't really play the whole season, so kind of bets off. But I told him, I was like, there's no way, I'm betting there's no way he's going to go the whole season all the way through the playoffs, especially when he really starts exerting himself, that something's not going to go, and he's been injury-free relatively.
Well, he had the vacation, career. But, the downside of that is you're not conditioning your body.
Right.
And, unless he was doing yoga the whole time.
And he's a little bigger now. Like, remember, like when he was in Miami, he thinned out a little bit, because Pat Riley has this thing about guys playing at like 4 or 5% body fat and all this stuff. Yeah. Like he works his guys really hard, has a system, like that. And they were amazing, him and Wade and all of that. But he's older, but he is put on a little bit more bulk too, Yeah. So it'll be, interesting.
On the other side of that, what the Pat Riley thing is, when you have that, you have like energy in reserve, and you got some cushion.
Yeah, so you could pull on it. Yeah, late in games, you're going to make jumpers late in games. Yeah. Where other guys get fatigued. But it's interesting. Like Toronto's had an amazing year, even though they lost Kawhi. They're still they play the best team ball in the league. And all those players have a ton to prove, and they have a emerging superstar in Siakam. You got the Clippers now with Kawhi. Definitely took the like they've been practicing during the pandemic. It feels like, you know what I mean? Like
right.
And so like I said, Houston's up and down, so you don't really know what you're going to get. But they still have Russell Westbrook and James Harden.
Right.
The East, again.
Wait,
now
Westbrook just got hurt though, didn't he?
Yeah.
He just got hurt.
And then Portland with Damian Lillard putting up like 50 points, and TJ Warren out of Indiana putting up 30, 40, 50 points and all this. Like he was like a good player, a scorer, but now it's like this dude might be growing into being a star right now. So who knows? Shit, Indiana could make a run. It's going to be it'll be interesting if you like basketball, which playoff basketball is always fun because players play way off.
And then even the bit players step up.
Right. Everybody takes it seriously. Yeah.
Which six man is going to come on strong,
And usually, if anybody's who's ever played basketball, your jumper is cold-blooded at the end of the season. At the beginning of the season, you might be hitting rim a little bit, But once you've been shooting a lot all season, the quality of play is way higher. Those open J's are all going in,
Yeah.
So it should be interesting.
Yeah. Baseball we got going on.
Will they make it through the season?
I don't know, man. They're I guess they're doing everything they can to salvage the season. I know they'll take a couple games off here and there, which is probably the smart thing to do.
They didn't do the bubble.
No, they
didn't. Right. That was the thing. Right. They didn't do everything they could. Now they are. So it'd be interesting to see what
I think there was more money to spread around. So, there more money from different places. But, and then I heard, I was talking to my chiropractor actually, a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about how Toronto wanted to play in Pittsburgh, and the governor said no. And I was like, but why? Hey, you know, that could have brought in revenue, could have brought in this and that. And the other thing is don't be afraid of Canada. They're doing better with COVID than we are.
Well, it's just
if anything, they would be afraid to come here.
Right. It's just a matter of, it's just how you do it. Like maybe you never know how those deals work out. A lot of times teams want support from the city, and the city pays for this because you're going to bring in supposed revenue. Right. And so, you know, because like I said, most states and cities lose money when they bring the Olympics. They lose money when they buy team stadiums, you know, and so I could see, you know, maybe there was some of that behind it. But yeah, like if again, right now, the bubble is like the best answer, right? Because that's basically what the countries did that were successful. Like that's what New Zealand did. That's what South Korea did. They created a bubble, right? Everybody who came in is automatically quarantined for 14 days before we let them out by everybody else, you know what I mean? And we keep track of everybody who tests this, and you know, some control measures that, you know what's coming in and out. And if everybody's there and you do that, then it seems pretty easy, right? Right. You know, so it's if they do that.
It brings me to a couple of things, because I think it was the NBA. One guy went to a funeral, he was excused, and then he came back. Well, then pictures surfaced. He had to stop at
he went to the strip club.
But he says, I really like their wings. That's what he said.
And everybody, and then there was people were like, no, they truly have the best wings you will ever get.
We'll have to find out where that is.
I'm serious. Like now the dancer came back and said, no, I gave him a lap dance. But like, you should have seen the love. I cracked up because there was a ton of love for those wings. So I was like, hey, it was crazy. They're like, no, for real. But those wings, you know. And I was like, holy shit, like I got to have to, you know, go to this strip club to check out these wings.
That's
which could be worse choices to make.
We'll have to find out what it is, because I do love some wings and I will travel.
Right.
So we'll have to find out where it is. Maybe we'll meet out there and have some wings.
Yeah, for sure. But, that'd be great.
The other thing is that happened. I don't know if you read this. This happened, I think, yesterday. Some dude from the NFL. He's, you know, NFL is doing their training camps. He tried to sneak his girlfriend into the team hotel by dressing her up as one of the players.
Oh, that's nice. Nice.
He got caught and he got cut, and that's a hard.
Dumb.
It's like, dude, man,
you can't.
He's a rookie.
Yeah,
like,
you can't.
You got one shot.
You're an idiot. Yeah, rookie. You can't. When you're in rookie, you can't do anything in the NFL. The NFL is like the military. Yeah. You know, like it's like I can, you know, well, growing up, we kind of witnessed it, right? Like if I try to explain to people, like, remember Dad when he would coach baseball and football, and I go to the practices, and when he was at football, it was like Coach Choppa, and it was like, fucking, and it was like, But when he played baseball, it was like pops and shit after every game, and it was Coach Will. You know what I mean? And it was like it's a different environment, right? It's just more, you know, football is a different animal, especially being from Texas, right? And all that Texas football and all that. So I was like, that's truly how it is. If you play football versus when you play baseball, for the most part, the coaches, everything, it's just a totally different environment, way more chill.
Yeah,
you know.
But yeah, I mean, especially during this, they're going to watch you.
Yeah, you can't.
And here's the thing, you know what? If you're like, you're
risking millions of dollars if that season doesn't happen, right? Like for that team, if a team breaks out and they can't make game, they can't do whatever. Like, it's just a dumb move,
right? Well, I mean, you're a rookie, man. You haven't earned that yet,
right?
You know, I mean, you're risking yourself making millions of dollars,
right?
You know, aside from the team, you could have a place where your family is set for 2 generations.
You know what it is?
You know what I mean? No,
it's like somebody you ever in the for people in the regular world, it's like if you ever have a job somewhere and an alcoholic starts working there. Right, like a real alcoholic, where like, dude, because there's a lot of like talented people that are like whatever, but then you get there and they're like a day and a half in and they're like having a drink on the job. Like, I know you ever witnessed that, like, where people are just like a day in and they're just like fucked up or whatever. They're just like, and they're like, and you're like, oh man, this dude don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, no. Like, this dude is like, he bombed.
And I don't know, man. I mean, what possesses somebody to think I'm gonna just sneak my girl in? They won't know. Please, because if they line up everybody and said, all right, if anybody could point out the person who did that,
right?
Who's it going to be? They're all going to point. So, everybody's going to point.
And
nobody wants to be the guy who didn't be by the rules, you know.
And it's different because most of the time, the people who break the rules at places are trying to get kicked out or don't care about the place.
Right.
But that's a guy trying to make a team and make a career. That's why it's uber stupid.
Right.
Right. Like, because we did stuff in the Army that could have got us kicked out a bunch of times. Like, shit you could make movies about, but we didn't care. And like some of my friends, they were trying to get kicked out basically anyway. Right.
Right.
You know, because it was like being in jail at that point, you know, so, and then they get caught anyway. But that is stupid. Like, you're trying to get, you know what I mean? It's like the opposite of trying to get kicked out and then you get kicked out. Like, it's an idiot.
Right. It's just, you had every opportunity in the world. You got invited to camp. You know how many people don't get invited to camp?
Insane.
And anyway, unless he had one of those girls that were just like, you don't love me. Yeah, if you really love me, and you got all this.
Right.
You ain't never gonna touch this. I'm gonna go see Bobby if you don't take me out. You know.
Hey, I'm telling you,
it's sad.
It's like I don't know. So we stole a Humvee. We were at one time. We were. This is God's honest truth. Anybody who's out there being in the military will know this is like, we were in Germany. It was on New Year's, and we were on guard duty out in the field, and nobody was around, and it was New Year's, and they like put us on guard duty because we were always in trouble, and so they were just like, fuck these guys, they're always in trouble anyway. So they tried to make us work the worst day. So we took from guard duty, left that shit out in the middle of the field, and drove the Humvee to downtown Erlangen, Germany. Went out with the top open in a Humvee in our BDUs with weapons and got fucked up with the Germans. They drove it back, got everything, because they didn't even check on us. Like, they had us out there in the middle of the woods, man, on New Year's, guard and stuff. Like, we could have got arrested. Still, it would have been so much trouble. It would have been trouble upon trouble upon trouble upon trouble. And it was a blast in the Hummer. It was crazy as shit.
That's crazy. I don't know if I should publish this.
But my buddies, they were like trying to get kicked out, like, because we were in trouble all the time. They took away our clothes. We couldn't leave the post. We were always on duty like this, like 24-hour guard duty in the middle of nowhere in a tower. And that's when, you know, we were like, man, fuck this, man. You know, we had liquor though. We had snuck liquor into the tower already.
That's where it starts.
It starts. Yeah, exactly. But anybody knows that would have been some major trouble. We'd have been thrown in jail by the MPs.
I don't know if somebody hears this, they might come looking for.
They might. There's got to be a statute.
There's a statute of limitation on partying in Germany.
Hell no, right?
Nobody will remember anything.
This was just, I hate to say what year it was.
No, don't even say it, because I don't want them coming looking for you.
Right. Oh, shit.
It was in the 70s.
Right.
In the 70s is what it was.
There was a lot of people there. That Hummer, you can't hide that shit on those roads.
Was there a road left when you guys left?
It's like, well, it's downtown, like where all the bars and everything are and all that stuff like that. But nobody really drives around. Everybody takes public transportation. So there's really no cars to compete. Yeah. It's just a big ass Hummer way out of place. And dudes in uniform. Like, you never go around in uniform. They tell you not to because you don't want to be noticed. You always have your clothes. It wasn't even about that. It wasn't even about that.
Earmuffs. So we also got hockey going on, and playoff hockey is like basketball hockey. Teams do step up, and you see like a massive difference.
For sure.
I believe the Blackhawks are in. Who are they saying? Is it Jersey is looking
a lot of female Blackhawk fans out here.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. And they look cute when they're wearing the hockey sweaters.
Yeah. I think that's a thing. I think they say that, and I think they say that because they think guys think they'll like that. It's like when they say I'm a sports fan, and then you meet them and they talk, and you're not really a sports fan. You just will hang around with me.
Hey, but I like the effort. It's nice that she tried. That means something.
That's a try to get somebody to ask you out on a date. And then once all that shit goes after a month,
then she's trying to sneak you in.
They're gonna try out of it. They're gonna try to get out of it. That's what it's gonna turn to.
And after that, they're gonna try to get you to sneak them into a hotel,
right?
With the team.
Try to get you to meet their mother.
I was like, give me your friend's clothes. I look like I played with the team.
I did respect that movement.
The other thing, aside from sports, which I mean, you know, again, it's playoff time, and then baseball's just getting started.
Oh wait,
and
hold on. As we're talking about sports, though, let's get back to the DC and Miocic, because that is going to be an amazing fight. If you haven't watched their first two,
this is DC's final fight, right?
Yeah, it's going to be his final fight, no matter what. He won the first fight by knockout. If anybody knows Miocic is a bad dude. Like, he is a bad. He's beat a lot of great fighters. DC's only loss as a heavyweight ever is to Miocic in the last fight, which was a very, very close fight. And then Miocic started hitting him with a left hook to the body, and DC had no answer for the left hook to the body, and that's what took him out. And Miocic is a boxer, wrestler. DC's a boxer, wrestler, really, like wrestler, boxer, whatever. Right. But both guys can take a punch. Both guys can give a punch, and usually guys that can take a punch means it's going to be a real good fight because they don't go down. It means they're going to take blows. So exciting and high skill for big guys, and big guys that you know, they don't lay on each other.
Right.
Like a lot of these dudes can fight. Yeah, it's going to be amazing fight.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
Did you see the Black Beast last week?
Yeah.
He upset Oleanic. Was the name Oleanic?
Yeah. He was losing to the first round, then he just went out. Dude, he's like, I'm not losing. I'm just going to punch him in the face real quick.
He got tired. He didn't want to go more than 2 rounds. He's like,
you gotta be smart enough, man, to not let that dude hit you. You know what I mean? You got to wrestle him.
Well, the thing was he came with a flying knee.
Yeah.
And when the guy went to block the flying knee, he came with the right, and it was a nice move by him to just kind of surprise the guy and all that stuff. But you just you know what? That's all it takes is one small little move, like something like
when you're that big too, all those guys, they're the heavyweights. When you're that big and strong, all those guys, it doesn't take much to knock each other out. You know?
Well, plus, it's something that you're not used to. If you're studying, when you go into a fight, you study the other guy. You watch what he does in every situation. And if he does something that you've never seen before on tape, you kind of,
it throws you off. Yeah.
You stuttered for just that second, and that's all it takes is just one little "what's up," you know.
Right.
I was watching. Remember when De La Hoya fought Vargas?
Yeah.
You know, it was like for Mexican pride, and it was really, really close. But all it took is one false move.
He was so fast. De La Hoya was his hands were so fast when he was at his prime.
Though he was, he was. I mean, that's the kind of.
He's one of those guys that grew up though. Boxing from when he was like 5, 6. Those types.
Oh yeah, it was generational. I mean,
those are those dudes like. Right, those are like our cousins, right? Like when you grow up fighting like that, I always tell dudes like, you think you're bad, man, but I'm telling you, even when I was in the army, man, I see the little bitty boxers, man, little small dudes, and kick some big dudes' ass because they know how to fight, man. They know how to hit you like 10 times before you even know what happened.
They know how to
move. It messes you. They know how to move. They know how to take advantage of your lack of knowing how to move.
Oh, and that's the biggest thing right there is they take advantage of your lack of knowledge.
Yeah,
they know how to work angles. They know how to be accurate. When
you don't even know. You think
they know your moves before.
Right. They know what you're gonna do, and they're gonna beat shit out of you. Yeah, like it's just, that's what it looks like. It's like them German nightsticks where it's like, they hit it once and then they vibrate, That's what them little dudes be getting on, dudes. It's just like, fight's over, But there's some great, like, speaking of fights like on YouTube, man, there are like you could go watch nowadays. You could watch the Roberto Duran Sugar Ray fight, the first fight.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, dude, Duran was a berserker.
He was.
Second fight was all that. He wasn't in shape and all that shit like that. But the first fight, like, dude, and remember, he went up in weight, like a few weight classes and all that. But just an absolute berserker. Or those Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez fights. They fought like 5 Dude, all of those fights are amazing. Like they are the first fight. Marquez gets knocked down 4 times in like the first round or the first 2 rounds, and then comes and wins like the next 10 rounds, with skill and guile and toughness and just love that shit.
What was the one? El Terrible versus Juan Marquez.
Yeah. They all.
That first fight was probably the fight of the century.
Well, Marquez Barrera, Pacquiao. El Terrible Pacquiao, El Terrible Barrera, and El Terrible Marquez. Like all those 4 people had multiple wars against each other that are all worth watching.
Yeah,
they're just amazing fights. Those guys. Marquez is so skilled of a fighter. Like that's a guy who thinks like if you watch his fights. Especially against Pacquiao when, in the first fight where he's getting, the guy's probably quicker and stronger, right? And knocking you out with his speed and quickness. And then you just see him figure Pacquiao out.
Right.
And again, just use intelligence and the willingness to like take 2, 3, 4 punches coming in the eyes, weather that and move just enough so you can come in and bop, 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 and get yours in, right? Yeah. And make that fight a draw. Yeah. Where you got knocked down 4 times in the first 2 rounds. Like, just crazy good fights.
Yeah. And, the other thing is those dudes, they fight into their, 30s. Yeah. That's unheard of. They
live that stuff,
that's just in their blood. That's just, they got, that's genetic,
and there's a lot of, like the one thing boxing does, like it's like soccer still, but it's one of those sports where like you don't necessarily need a lot of money to do it. You just need the commitment.
Right.
And so a lot of people can bring out their national pride. Like there's a lot of national pride, whether it's Mexico or Puerto Rico or the Philippines or
Irish
or even regional in the United States. If you're from LA or you're from Detroit, like the Bronx Gym, or you're from Philly, like if you're from Serbia, all these countries, like they bring a lot of pride with it too. British, English boxers, So it's it's like I was watching Khabib arguing with what's his face, the king of cringe, right? And they were arguing what's better, wrestling or judo, right? They were having this argument, wrestling versus judo, right? It's a great argument, but Khabib is like, he says wrestling, and it is show how much thought these guys put into this. I forgot what he said. Wrestling, 120 countries in the Olympics. Judo, 373 countries in the Olympics. Judo is better. It's got more people, you know what I mean? But it is like when you can bring all that in, and that's where
they get passionate about that. I mean, that's your life. That's your life right there. That's why you don't sneak girls into the team hotel.
No. Right. Not then. Not until you made it. Not until you made it, son.
No. You know what? It's just a couple of weeks. You're having a short training camp anyway. You know what I mean? It's shorter than all the other ones, but from the team's perspective, he basically did the team a favor. Yeah.
Right? Because he's obviously somebody who can't control himself. He would have got flags on the field, whatever, all that stuff relates.
True. Good point. It's like we used
to always say, you don't have to fire people, they're going to fire themselves.
That's true. Yeah. I've always told everybody that I don't fire anybody. I just fill out the paperwork.
Right.
You fire yourself. That's all I do. I'm just in charge of the paperwork. That's okay when they're coming in, but when they're going out, they don't like hearing that too.
You know, like, hey.
I mean, on the way in, they agree when you're talking about them on the way in, but on the way out, they don't want to hear it.
I know it's like our company's got, compliance, and so now, they're listening to these calls actively because it's all over the phone, and you're dealing with people's health and all this stuff. So compliance, and they're dinging people, and it's like if you said, hey, do you have high blood pressure, and they say yes, you got to put yes. And I can't save your job, but I've been doing this before, I would do it by myself, and it's like I feel bad, and I know them, but it's like, so I'm always sending them the emails, and I always send a picture of the Terminator, with the gun and shit.
Uh-huh.
Like, compliance is always watching, shit,
always,
but like,
one of the other anecdotes I always use is protect yourself at all times.
Right.
It's like protect yourself at all times. That means, you're in charge of you. And if something happens, you can't be, well, it was his fault. It was his fault. No, you weren't protecting. You did not have your hands up.
That's why I like email, to be honest, because everything is date and timed or written down.
Right.
You're going to call me up and cuss me out because I'm going to cuss you out back, and then we're going to have a contest. We're going to communicate. Everything's going to be on right there. Make sure I went through all the steps.
A true story. That I've had to do that too. Hey, I sent the email. And
you know how it is in Illinois. It's hard to fire people in Illinois.
Or even sometimes, it's just like, hey, I wasn't copied on that one. Well, I have it right here.
Right.
Or sometimes I'm not copied on it. It's like, I forgot to send it. I forgot to forward it to you.
But for real, but like in Illinois, especially Cook County, it's hard to fire people. Like the unemployment, like the what do you call it? I forgot who protects the employees, what the department is, but they protect them for real in Illinois.
Department of Labor?
Yeah, Department of Labor in Illinois and all that. And the companies don't want to pay unemployment and this and that. So you know how it is. Like if somebody messes up, you got to document it, and you generally got to document 3 episodes and showed how you tried to make it better before they'll not, before that you're really able to just fire somebody and not have to pay them to leave, right? Dude, you know what I mean? But you got to document that shit. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay them to leave. When
I worked at the call center, I mean, essentially, you had to stab somebody to get fired out of that place. And the only other thing was,
you were in Rockford, right?
Well, yeah, it was attendance was the big thing. But to get fired, you had to miss so much time in such a little amount of time. It was almost impossible for anybody to do that. But there was people who did
it. Yeah.
And it's like, how is that even possible to make? You missed 15 days in a 10-day span. How?
But again, it goes back to our point. Yeah. You fire yourself.
Right.
If the person don't really want to be there, it doesn't matter what the limitations are. They're going to find them. Right. They're gonna find them.
And that's the thing is just like, well, I had a flat tire. Well, then my car was broke, and then my house burnt down, and then my dog. It's like maybe you don't. I was like, maybe you don't need to be working here anyway. Maybe you should go home and work on yourself for a little bit.
I should start keeping these emails that I get for why people can't work, and we should do a podcast on that. On like how the bigger the people who miss a lot of work and the lies get bigger and bigger and bigger, where it's like first it's like I can't make it to work today because my dog died, and then it's like the next week it's like, well, my cousin got in a car accident and her parents are out of town, so I got to go over there, and then it's like, well, when my cousin got in a car accident, nobody was there and the dog starved to death. So now I got to buy her a new dog, but nobody's there to take care of it because it's a puppy. And like it just goes on and on. And it gets like and like everybody, it don't matter. Like, and now with COVID.
Dude, I promise you we will do that because as soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm going to give you a couple.
I have many.
I have so many.
I have many.
We'll wrap this one out right there, but we'll do it. We'll do it again soon. Maybe we'll do another one this weekend. We'll do a quickie.
All right, we'll do that one.
That's coming up sometime soon. But hang on because I want to talk to you as soon as I close this out. Anyway, make sure to check this out, 1015bobrocks.com. And now we have a brand new app. So you got to get the app, and the podcasts are available right there or anywhere you get podcasts. We're there. So All right. Thanks, Vince.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll talk to you next week.
Peace out.